What's up, K-Mob, mother effing Bay Mob? What up, what up? It's your boy Kees, Kees the GOAT, Kees the president, big Kees with a big wall and a big mouth and ain't nobody, what? Pop me in it, yeah, you get it, sister.
That's what it was, and I don't think I said nothing bad. I also said, I literally see why you fall out with everybody. I said, fuck this shit, it's not even worth my time. I have enough respect for you to say it to you, but I'm just gonna block you because this shit is weird. Guess what this boy replies back to me? Cry me a river, good riddance. But you the victim! This shit is killing me!
We're not about to do that. Kees used to read Maj before I even knew who Maj was. You was the one sending me his post. Duh, we don't like that nigga. You wanna call me a fat ass bitch? I'ma call you a gay ass bitch. It's like, I don't understand. Fat phobia for homophobia. Me and Maj both know you motherfucking wrong, I'm motherfucking wrong, and that's why I let it fly. But bitch, you about to cut off a 4-year friendship over a nigga who you talk shit about too? Yeah, this nigga trying to use these big ass words. It was kind of blowing me because I'm like, Kees, shut your dumb ass up. Your bigoted rhetoric is crazy homophobic. I'm reading this shit back, y'all irritated. End of story. Always call it gay. Y'all clearly didn't even watch the whole segment. Because if you did, you wouldn't be so mad about an ex-friend saying how y'all made them feel.
Hey, mi gente, it's Julian Steve. You already know my name, but if you're new here, hey. Oh, hey. You see what I'm talking about? I keep forgetting my signals, so just get used to it for now. Today, we're going to be talking about Kees versus Rykky and Nijhea. Hey, mi gente, so this is the editing me, the first one. Ironic, yeah. So I just wanted to apologize for saying Nijhea's name wrong. I mistakenly kept saying Nijhea, and that's because I get Nijhea and Nijhea confused. So please, while watching the video, and know when I say Nijhea, I meant to say Nijhea, okay? Give me some grace. I been having a rough time. So, my bad, okay? This is a very, very complex topic, but I'm going to try to explain, I guess, what's going on, but also my opinions on the situation and advice as a 26-year-old who hasn't had the best friendships. I mean, my friendships now are better than where I was younger with. I really wanted to talk about this a few days ago, but with my personal life, things have been happening, but also more videos started to pop off about this situation, and I wanted to be give a bit of time in case if someone else responds. I feel like there might be another response coming up soon. I'm not sure when, but in case that does happen, I might make another video maybe. We'll see. But we're just going to talk about what's currently happening and move forward from that. Okay, mi gente? Okay, mi gente? Okay. We're going to start now. Now, if you didn't know, Kees is a YouTuber, Rykky is a YouTuber, and Nijhea's a YouTuber too. All three of them have way more subscribers than I do, so best believe they big. They are very big. So it all started with Kees discussing his issues between Rykky and Nijhea. He was talking about how he cut them off, and it was like people had to put two and two together, and then by people, I'm talking about mostly his subscriber base, and that's when they found out that he was referring to Rykky and Nijhea. Now, in the video, he didn't really give more context to why he cut off his friends that were the day before, because it was on April 19th when he cut them off. But then he released this video April 20th. He started off by talking about this trend that is going on TikTok, which I am not familiar with because I'm not on TikTok. But anyways, Basically, it's about black women versus queer people, well, specifically black queer people, and about how homophobia is common within these spaces and how people are just sharing their experiences and stories. And that's when he felt compelled to share his story with Rykky and Nijhea. He implicated that Rykky and Nijhea both used the F word that rhymes with gadget. You all know what I'm talking about. I'm not even going to go further on that.
Waited with finding out if that's the case. Mind you, don't have no connection to this man. Then the friend was like, I don't know if I can say this. And then, mind you, my phone was down on the counter and I was just like quiet. I didn't know what she was about to say. Then she goes, he looks like and says the F slur. And I was like, mind you, group FaceTime. So it was me and the other friends. And all girls, just me. I was the only boy in the call. And I looked at the phone, I was like, the fuck? Look at the phone, I was like, you need to chill. I don't ever want to hear you say that again. And both of them just like giggled it off and they were like, oh my bad. And I was just like, that shit not funny. Like at all. Like that's not funny at all.
He talked a bit more further on the video about how people would basically misconstrue people's gender identity, like sexual orientation specifically, just because they do things that's not traditional of a straight man, like a masculine man versus a feminine man.
Like 2 weeks later, it had to been like 2, maybe 3 weeks later. So just recently, right? They were showing me a picture, and in the picture, they were talking about some boy again. They asked me if I thought he was cute. And I was like, hell yeah, I think he's cute. I was like, he's fine. And then she goes, I don't know, he looks like and then looks at me and I'm like, really, bitch? I literally looked at her like, what? When they said it, it was not just me. It was me, them, and 2 other girls. And I was like, so I know y'all all say it, or you say it enough for you to be comfortable enough to say it around them, because you were about to say that hella loud with your uppitiest chest and you thought you weren't gonna get clocked. And if I wasn't there, you probably weren't gonna be.
And it felt very close to home. If you watched this specific video about femininity, but if you watched this specific video, you would know that I went through this. Mostly men, regardless of race, trying to accuse me of being too feminine for a black boy and a black man, and about how that they were questioning my sexual orientation and all this other things. And when he mentioned it about this trend, I can kind of see from his perspective as to why this would bother him as a black man who is gay. That's totally understandable, but I do believe that in this trend, which besides this being a call out for Kees, but also for the people doing it, we never talk about how men, and I'm going to specifically speak on black men and black boys, specifically when it comes to black boys and black men, we do not talk about how we infiltrate these types of discussions of stereotypes about what is the ideal man in the black community, and then it spreads to other parts of the community. And it's like we always try to find a way to blame women from participating in it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, in my experience, I rarely seen women participate, specifically black women participating, and black queer men. I mostly see it from black boys and black men. And this also includes mixed with black boys and men. So that's why when it comes to this specific topic, it's kind of hard for me to just narrow it down between black women and queer people, yeah, sure, it should be, yeah, we gotta have these discussions when it comes to certain groups, but we always try to narrow it down to always Black girls and Black women instead of talking about the common denominators, Black boys and Black men, especially if they're straight. Then Kees made a follow-up video where he talked about Rykky and Nijhea, mentioning about them two, and specifically on on TikTok. I guess they called him out on TikTok. Well, specifically Nijhea called him out on TikTok.
And it was working. The video was receiving the regular amount of engagement that it was, like my videos usually do. There wasn't any theories in the comments. I made sure to look in the comments and see if anybody was commenting about it, and nobody had an inkling that it was the people who were involved that were involved until the people who were involved made it clear that they were the ones involved. And I'm not saying that they aren't allowed to talk about it, because shit, if you feel some type of way, talk about it. That's how you're human. Like shit, that people need to do that. People need to know that there's a space where you can say your feelings. But to say that I did it for clout and I did it because I wanted people to attack them, or say that I wanted this to be the outcome, is simply untrue, because I didn't ever give any clear signs that these were the people that I was talking about.
And then that's when he addressed it within the video to, like, I guess, defend himself and give his reasonings as to why he did what he did. He mentioned about money, which is one of the things that I was like, because if you didn't know, every 21st of the month, YouTube pays you for AdSense, and then within the coming days, they will pay you, right? That would mean the final pay cut is, in this case, it will be April 20th. And depending what time Kees released this video, that means he's making a specific amount, and I'm pretty sure he racked up a couple of views, which means whatever amount he received from that video is going to count for how much he's making on YouTube. And then remember, within the coming days, he received more views, so that means he's making even more money. Oh, circling back, because I'm going to bring this up further on in the video. Kees mentioned about a situation in Jamaica, which I believe happened further out before this far out recently.
My friends are important, and I haven't been showing up as much because I was really just focused on being stuck in my shell, but I was willing to do that and step out my comfort zone for my homegirl. And then they were like, oh, if you go out there and you do this, they're gonna look at you weird and they're gonna beat you the fuck up, but they're gonna da-da-da, and they laughed about it. And remember, I was telling you guys about that, but I was like, you know, they're good people and whatnot, but at the time I really thought that was so weird. Like, why would you tell somebody that, especially your best friend? I wouldn't say best friend, but you know what I mean? Why would you tell your friend that? And recently, just literally today, I had to cut those friends off, or I'm not gonna say I completely cut them off, but I'm probably going to, because just where I stand on my principles of what a friend is and what my boundaries are, I don't think I can see myself being friends with those people, and let me tell you why.
Hey, I'm back again. So while I was getting the video ready, you know, like continuing to edit, I just realized that Kees did a freaking ad in between this whole controversy on one specific video, and I'm gonna put like a glimpse of it.
I didn't technically buy the things that I said I've been buying because I didn't really spend any money because I used Cooper. Oh wait, you thought I was finna, oh, you thought no, no, my love, we talking about Cooper, we talking about money on today. Come here, sit down, let me talk to you. I've been partnered with the app Cooper for a few months now, but I've been using them for maybe the last like year or so, and I use other competitors, and I just never have had the experience that I've had with them like I've had with Cooper, because when I tell you that cash back,
the fact that he thought this was okay and that people weren't going to like question him in the comments, which by the way, numerous people did that, it's just ridiculous how much people would do so much for money over a friendship. A friendship of 5 years. Of 5 years. It's really disgusting. You that desperate for money over your own friendship of 5, not even friendships of 5 years. You're gonna risk it over money. Yeah, I'm starting to think my theories, Nijhea's theories, and Rykky's theories are correct. And the majority of people who think just like us three. Definitely, it's all about money when it comes to Kees. Allegedly, even though, yeah. Nijhea made her video, and she made it about 3 days after Kees made his video.
Straight to the point, because people is playing on my name. It's just beginning to be too much, and I really haven't came on any platform other than my spam to address anything. I think it's time for me to talk and address my feelings. I'm gonna get straight to the point. If you guys don't know, I was friends with a person for 5 years of my life, and just recently, this past week, the whole friendship has been blown up on the internet in front of thousands of people. I've been dealing with it all by myself. Well, me and Rykky have been dealing with it by ourselves. We literally trauma bonded. Me and Rykky is trauma bonding, okay? That's my bitch. So I'm addressing this situation because I feel like it's important for me to tell my side of the story.
And basically, she talked about breaking down how Kees was wrong with so many of his assumptions, and talking about how Nijhea was using the F word in a very homophobic way and trying to like make her look bad, knowing that he's putting her out of context. And she also brought up about how she rarely uses the word. She mostly used it based on his comfortability, and knowing that she's not doing it in a derogatory way against queer people, specifically gay men.
If you feel like me calling you homophobic is a name, then so be it. Kees, you just did your weirdest one, baby. You did your weirdest one, boo-boo. And it's like he didn't even acknowledge the fact that he hurt our feelings. And Kees, I want to tell you something. Because I know you watching this. I know you about to make all the response videos. You might as well not even make one. But let me tell you something. I don't know what type of hatred you have in your heart for me specifically. I don't know who I remind you of that you hate, which we all know who it is, but we won't go there. But I'm not her, and I never did anything to you. And I feel like you have a strong hatred in your heart for black women, specifically darker skinned black women, because the way that you were shifting your tone when it came to me and Rykky, everybody is going to notice it. Everybody is going to notice that shit, and it had me thinking I'm fucking crazy when I'm not fucking crazy. And then on top of that, you went on the internet and you said these things about us, and when it came out that it was about us, everybody fucking thought it was me. Everybody said, I know it was Nijhea. I just know it was Nijhea that was saying this shit. I just know that she was the main one saying it. Whole time I don't even fucking say that shit. I don't say that shit. Kees, pull up a fucking text message of me saying that shit within this fucking year. I do not say that shit, and you know I don't say that shit.
Then Nijhea also mentioned about how she felt like Kees was talking more passively aggressive towards her versus Rykky, which I'm not gonna lie, I peeped that too. It was very obvious that he definitely has something against Nijhea. Well, he has something against both of them, but he has a very strong issue with Nijhea more than with Rykky. And I do believe it does have to also do with, besides his issues with his mother, depending how his mother looks, but also the fact that Nijhea is darker than Rykky, that also plays a factor, which Nijhea did brought up too.
He says, if you can't see that homophobia is more than liking gay people and allowing them to be around you, then I don't know what to tell you. Change that. I don't care. I say, you have deep-rooted issues within yourself, and that has nothing to do with us. Guess what this man replies back to me? And Nijhea, you're bitching like I'm slamming you in the video. I kept it very respectful the whole time. You're mad because you're hearing about yourself and it hurt. I've known y'all for 5 fucking years, and Rykky, what hurt the most was you was there. Unlike this aggressive ass bitch. He calls me an aggressive ass bitch. You called me an aggressive ass bitch.
Kees mentioned in the group chat about how she's very aggressive, and he kept like throwing it in his responses back to her, and that really triggered her because he knew that she didn't like when people called her aggressive, especially in a derogatory way, because people were doing it in a derogatory way towards her due to the fact she has a very outgoing personality, and she's very direct, and it's kind of like familiar with people from the East Coast, which by the way, I'm from the East Coast if you didn't know. But of course, some people don't call me aggressive, and some people do, depending who I talk to. But not aggressive in the bad way, more like they could tell that I don't play with people's shit.
I said back to him, I said, I'm mad because you went on the internet like a weirdo and ignored us when we tried to talk about it. I want you guys to notice the tone and how he's talking to me versus how he's talking to Rykky. I had to talk to Rykky about this because it literally had me thinking I was crazy or like I'm tripping. But she was like, no, Nijhea, like the tone was totally different between how he was talking to me and how he was talking to you. She said she immediately picked up on it and she immediately noticed. And when she noticed how he was calling me aggressive and said it multiple times, she immediately texted me and she was like, I'm so sorry, like you do not deserve that. And the thing about it is, I didn't even want to say this because I didn't want to seem woke, like I was too woke. But why are you talking to me like this? After I said you ignored us when we tried to talk about it, he says, you can't tell me how to vent or to feel. Nijhea, I really don't give a. Wasn't you supposed to be blocking me? I replied back, you're a horrible person, because at this point my feelings are hurt, because I could see if you called me a punk back, that wouldn't have hurt my feelings. But you calling me an aggressive bitch? This is a scheme that Todd set up. This is a scheme that Todd set up. I replied back, I mentally can't even have this conversation. And Rykky immediately picks up on it and she says, and now you're angry because she's upset. That's so foul. You were supposed to be her best friend. And at the end of the day, I would have never talked about you on the internet or give anybody the space way to have opinions on y'all.
And I do want to say allegedly because I'm not sure he really does have issues with his mother, but I'm going based on what Rykky and Nijhea said. Now we're at Rykky's part of the video. So out of the 3 of them, I'm more familiar with Rykky because a few months ago, her videos got recommended to me. Not that recently, but it was like around December, January. She broken up with her ex-boyfriend, and it was very like a hot topic, especially on TikTok. And I didn't really know about it until I got recommended her channel. And then I did more digging by looking on Reddit. And as a person who wasn't familiar with Rykky's content, I felt very bad for her. So I was compared to see a bit of her videos and stuff. So when this issue came out and I got recommended her video again, I was like, ooh. So now we're here.
About an hour after he sent the original paragraph, but at this point I was drunk. So I decided to text Nijhea and I said, I just seen Kees' text. I'm in a party, I'm kind of confused and I'm hurt by his point of view, but I don't know how to communicate without downplaying his feelings because he knows we literally never or ever be homophobic in a way that he wouldn't understand. Hold my thought with that. Yes, we make ignorant jokes, but so does he. And I have never once associated talking shit with homophobia. I'm just confused. I think his questioning of our friendship out of all things we've done about a couple comments is more than our statements, because I always say to him, not like that. I don't know why I'm texting you. I just want to be cautious instead of responding because I am drunk and I'm in a party. I hope you understand. Because y'all, I texted Nijhea like this because girl, the last time I spoke to Nijhea like privately was clearly April 3rd when she sent me money. Oh my gosh. When she sent me money, April 3rd. So I texted Nijhea though because we are both two friends of his that is close to him, and I didn't want to downplay his feelings.
Rykky took a bit of time to respond back due to the fact that she wasn't prepared to talk about this issue. And the day when Kees tried to talk about this situation, it was the 19th and she was already outside partying with her friends. meaning that she was drunk. Rykky responded back to him on April 20th after coming back from church because of Easter Sunday.
I had to respond to Kees because it was Easter Sunday, and I had said, I appreciate you being honest with us. I'm sorry that anything we've said made you feel disrespected because that was never my intention, especially after all the years we've been friends. I want to be real about how I'm feeling too. I didn't know you felt like this because this boundary wasn't something you'd clearly expressed to us before. That's not me trying to dismiss what you're saying, but your decision just caught me off guard. It hurts to feel like our friendship or the respect we have for you is being questioned based off something we didn't know was crossing the line. I've always seen this group chat as a safe space where we could joke, even if the jokes were hella ignorant, sexist, homophobic, racist, push limits without it being taken personally, because at the end of the day, we understand where each other's hearts were. So to compare me and Nijhea's respect for each other to yours feels unfair, but I understand now that intent does not always cancel out impact, so I respect your decision to take space.
Then within that time span, after she sent her message about not meaning to use the F word in a derogatory way and trying to make sure that they were able to say whatever they wanted to say in this group chat, regardless of how problematic it may sound, especially to the public, which I'm going to talk about when we get to the concluding statement. And then she also talked about how he was never offended by them saying this word. He basically gave them the approval for them to say that word. So they didn't see nothing wrong with them saying it.
Well, bitch, you eventually told us 24 hours before posting a YouTube video. You saying, well, eventually I tell a motherfucker, no, your weak ass waited until 24 hours before you posted a YouTube video, and you only said it because you knew you was finna drop this fucking video about us. That's why you told us. You didn't tell us because you wanted to respect our friendship and let us know and not really be a weird bitch like you made it seem in a paragraph, like we gave you grace for doing when you sent that paragraph. Because in my opinion, I don't find that in your paragraph you was rude at all. I don't find that you said anything disrespectful. That's not the problem here, and this is your issue. You're trying to make it seem like we were angry because you set a boundary. Mind you, a boundary that if you would have set at any point of our friendship, we would have respected. And y'all, at the end of the day, this man's gonna get on here and tell y'all that he set boundaries and this, that, and the third. Tell him show the proof. Tell him stop telling y'all that he called Nijhea after Nijhea used the slur where he drops the screenshot. You know exactly why Nijhea's not gonna get on here and say who and what she was using that against, because in that moment when Nijhea said that shit, you know why she said that shit. And it was because I literally just went through something traumatic. For you to get up on a video and say that you called Nijhea to tell her and set that boundary. Y'all, why do y'all think he blurred that whole entire conversation? Y'all think if the person was an innocent bystander, he would have showed the conversation? Because he egged that shit on. He's gonna show a screenshot of Nijhea saying the F slur. Was she wrong? Yes. But was she using it against the person who's a part of the community? No.
Rykky also admitted that Nijhea said something related to that word, the F word, due to a situation that happened to her, and by her talking about Rykky, it's a very personal situation. She didn't really go into detail, which is totally understandable, but I just wanted to mention that here before people be like, wait a minute, so who is that person? I don't know, because Rykky didn't mention it in her video. Similarly to Nijhea, Rykky talked about how she was talked to versus Nijhea, and about how she noticed that Kees was more passive aggressive towards Nijhea versus her.
Understand him. Fuck you. Then he just kept calling Nijhea aggressive. I was like, I have every idea what I'm talking about, because I feel like in this moment he was trying to gaslight me. You know when people know that you're a good person, so they keep trying to say you're a good person, but in this moment you're acting like a bad person. It's like they try to use your good personality against you. I said, I have every idea what I'm talking about, because why you keep telling me I don't have no idea what I'm talking about? I experienced this friendship too, and I don't need more context to know that you purposely ignored two people reaching out to you, being understanding towards your boundaries that you're just now saying made you feel uncomfortable, and instead you decided to make your YouTube title to give people the space way to talk about us. We would never do that to you, no matter what you say or do. And you open these doors for people to come at us knowing you have the most ignorant fan base. And
Rykky also pointed out that she saw a difference between the way Kees was talking to her versus Nijhea. She also talked about more examples of how Kees was okay with the way Nijhea and Rykky used that specific word and or referring to certain men as being gay or being DL or being a part of the queer community in general. So it was more like a neutral agreement, like they understood each other within this group chat. When Kees brought this up, it really surprised her, and it made her like wonder, like, were you really plotting or trying to like embarrass me on the internet? Which I don't know, but for what it looks like, maybe, allegedly, maybe. Hey, mi gente, this is a editing me, my sister's room edition. So I didn't talk much about Kees' accusations against Nijhea and Rykky when it came to going to Jamaica. And the reason why specifically is because it was an accusation that happened months, if not years ago, a year ago. I'm going to include what Kees said versus what Rykky said.
My friends are important, and I haven't been showing up as much because I was really just focused on being stuck in my shell, but I was willing to do that and step out my comfort zone for my homegirl. And then they were like, oh, if you go out there and you do this, they're gonna look at you weird and they're gonna beat you the fuck up, but they're gonna da-da-da, and they laughed about it. And remember, I was telling you guys about that, and I was like, you know, they're good people and whatnot, but at the time I really thought that was so weird. Like, why would you tell somebody that, especially your best friend? Well, I wouldn't say best friend, but you know what I mean? Why would you tell your friend that?
In that video, and we laughed at him and we said, ah, they will kill you. Like, never fucking happened. We were talking about going to Jamaica for Nijhea's birthday. These are two different situations, by the way, y'all. Like, two different points of the conversation where he tries to make it seem like all of this just happened right real quick, and we laughed and we just went on to the next subject. No, the first thing that happened was when he was twerking, and I was playing the music for them to twerk, and I'm hyping him up, obviously, and then he made a joke about how he would be in the club like this, hey, popping his shit, you know, period. And then I said, sister, that's gonna have to be the final act, cause then it's time to go. After that, bitch, we gotta get our ass back on the resort. Like, bullets finna start flying. Y'all seen vlogs of us together. You know how when one of us make a joke, how we all bust out laughing? That's exactly how we was in that moment. We all busted out laughing. After then, still normal. He's still talking about wanting to go on a Jamaica trip. Then he says, OMG, and he starts showing nail designs of what he would get when he was going to Jamaica. And in that moment, while he was talking, I was like, damn, like, do I have to be like the person who tell him right now that like Jamaica's homophobic as fuck? As your friend, why would I put you in a predicament to go nowhere? Mind you, this is my country that I know. So why would I put you in a predicament telling you like, yeah, go ahead and get long ass nails, any nails, but long ass nails with all these gems and with all these designs and all these colors and shit like that, knowing that that's gonna draw you attention and that's going to make everybody watch you weird. You're gay. Like, it makes it obvious you're gay. And gay men are not welcome in Jamaica, like as much as it is in America. It's a little uncomfortable for me to even have to like tell a gay person not to do something based off their sexuality because they're gonna be hurt.
Based on what all three of them said, honestly, when it comes to Kees, it looks like he was just finding random reasons to make Nijhea and Rykky look bad. Not even make them look worse. He made them look even more credible that he's just finding random reasons to not like them. And in my opinion, they did the right thing, because if you didn't know, in Jamaica, there's a lot of homophobia. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of homophobia in Caribbean countries, period. But I can't attest to Jamaica only because I know a couple of people that are Jamaican, either Jamaican descent or they were born in Jamaica, and they've told me about their experiences there. And also, when you read articles and stuff, it shows about the homophobia and numerous other things that has happened at the country. So, in my opinion, Nijhea and Rykky, especially Rykky, did the right thing to let him know, hey, you gotta be careful, this and that. So Kees using that against them is really pathetic, if you ask me. And I want to mention it here because we're about to go to the concluding statement. Rykky is 21. I believe Nijhea's 21 too. And Kees is 23.
I have been through so much shit. My life is good. and I'm okay and I'm good. It is what it is. It's not the first time a motherfucker has done me wrong for no reason. The reason it hurt me so bad and why I even got up here in the first place was listening to the way you spoke about me, when you know that I've been through so much shit on the internet already. So it's the fact that you even put me in a predicament to even be spoken about again. You know, I've been through a lot like these last couple of months. Like I told y'all, I sat on my couch with him and I spoke to him about a lot of stuff that I was going through. I told you how I felt very stupid and very angry at myself because of the fact that I accidentally posted something about me that like now I knew that everybody will use already as leverage to disrespect me, and I hated that because I'm not a drama person and I worked really hard for my platform to be positive, and yet now everybody will talk about a fucking baby that doesn't exist.
Concluding statement. Number one, no one should not be using derogatory terms, especially when it affects communities, like very marginalized communities, unless if everyone as a party is okay with it. Now, would I do it? No. But according to Nijhea and Rykky, Kees was okay with them using these very derogatory words and those speaking in a derogatory way against said communities. Once again, they weren't trying to be homophobic, but they were just saying it as an example to prove their points. But according to Kees, he felt like they were being homophobic. Number two, with Kees being a bit older than Nijhea and Rykky, he should be more of the adult figure, even though they are adults, but he should have been more of that person to guide the friend group. Instead, Kees could have just been direct and be like, I feel like we shouldn't use derogatory terms. And if we do, we say no offense, my bad, I didn't meant to that way, etc., etc. But then at the same time, I get that would mess up the group chat and it would make it feel more like you try to be corporate friendly, and you do not always want to be like that, especially with your friends or your family or your significant other, which is why I understand that. But at the same time, if you know certain friends do not like if you know that certain friends do not like certain things, you have to follow along and respect that. It looks like Kees was okay with this originally, so it's really hard to like defend him. He's saying one thing, but Nijhea and Rykky are saying another thing, and then when you read their messages, it proves their points too. Number three, no one who is not a part of the queer community, especially gay men, shouldn't be using the F word, because that word, or even bisexual men, because that word is affected by mainly them. However, I do know that certain queer women get called the F word too. That's why it's not, at this point, it's not even more exclusively a word towards gay men or bisexual men. It's a word towards queer people in general. Number four, accountability. I believe that Nijhea and Rykky did a good job being accountable for their behavior. However, when it comes to Kees, I feel like he didn't as much as they did. And it was more like he was trying to find reasons to, besides cut them off, but make them look bad on the internet, especially Nijhea, which was weird. But it affects both Rykky and Nijhea because both of them have a brand. They have a brand on the internet. So him doing this does not make them look good. Number five, we need to stop generalizing people based on their gender and sexual orientation, meaning just because a man is feminine does not mean he is queer. Just because a man is masculine does not mean that he cannot be queer either. We need to stop having these very gender specific binaries. Now, if you have a preference of a masculine man or a feminine man, kudos to you. That's your preference, right? You see, that's when preferences are not bad, because that's a specific and that's a specific but also a, I guess, not bigoted way of like thinking when it comes to a preference, even though that can be debatable. But most preferences can be harmful too, depending of your preference. But my point is, we need to stop doing these binaries. Everybody is unique, everybody is different, and just because certain men do these feminine things does not mean that they are queer. And like I said, vice versa. But also, they can still be straight, but just like doing these things. That being said, I hope that the situation between Kees, Nijhea, and Rykky stays how it is, even though I doubt it. I'm not even going to lie. I feel like one of them is going to respond back and it's going to get ugly. And if that does happen, I hope that they move on after like giving out their grievances and trying to not cause people out due to their current friendship situation. Thank you so much if you made it this far in this video. I appreciate you. Be sure to like this video, comment, share, and subscribe. I did the best I can with the information I received. All three of them are redeemable. However, one of them, Kees, is more of the problem, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, because some of you might disagree. We're going to see in the comments. Man, we're going to see. Be sure to check out my other videos on my channel because they are good too. Finally, I have a new haircut. What do you think? Even if you do not like it, I do not care. I love it. It doesn't come out good like the way I did the angles. I might put pictures on the side. Okay, mi gente. Okay, mi gente. Okay. Thank you and peace, mi gente.